Hey there, it's Ruby Lee, and welcome to the Fix Your Grown Up podcast, the audio companion for the book Fix Your Grown Up, dropping on April 15th, 2025. This show is your toolkit for reclaiming your inner spark and transforming your life. Inside the book, you'll find powerful journaling sections in every chapter to help you reflect and reset, hilarious mental health parodies that keep things real and light, and the groundbreaking happy mindset theory to help you tune into your natural joy. If you love a structured approach with a dash of humor, think clear strategy mixed with some playful insights, you're in the right place. For more details and to grab your copy, head over to www.drtuepenz.com. Let's fix our grown-ups and get our happy on.
Hey, yo, what's the deal? It is I, Dr. Tuepenz, live and direct on the Fix Your Grown Up podcast. Yeah, I know, we're doing it. So today, we're going to definitely dive into the first part, of the book, one of the first pillars, which is accountability. And so through accountability, this is where we begin. This is our base. The people, it's hard to accept accountability, just like it was hard for me to say that. But it is, people often get offensive when you got to get held accountable. It's not comfortable. It's a lot of negative feedback. And I'm just talking about me right now, So, I'll be honest, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear nobody talking to me, telling me what I'm doing wrong when I know everything I want to do. And because, everything I want to do is what I want to do, I should be right. Right. That's what I'm saying. So understanding that, for me, when I began to hold myself not a little accountable, but 100% accountable for everything going wrong in my life that I had control over. And that's the key. Some things in your life you don't have to, you don't have control over. And those are the things where you need to be the most still, the most quiet, and more importantly, the most observant. But in the things that you have control over, those are the things that you are accountable for. And you need to understand that. So, of course, me, I like to talk about words and more importantly, their meanings. And if you can hear that book page turning, I got it on me right now. So accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable, responsibility, accountable, of a person, organization, or institution required or expected to justify actions or decisions. Responsible, explicable, understandable. It's interesting. I like to keep it simple. So I look at accountability as equaling the same thing as acknowledging your personal responsibility for the things you can control. If it's in your control, you need to control it. That's how I feel about it. Now, I didn't want to get too deep. And I know when I did Slave Mind, people were telling me, Dr. Tuepenz, you put so much math and all these equations. It kind of left me a little, dazed and confused. It was very technical. And I said, oh, my bad. I didn't know I was just doing too much with that. So the math of accountability is simple. It is responsibility plus obligations multiplied by your actions. Yes, responsibility, obligations times actions. And that's going to give us accountability because that's the things you're accountable for. You're responsible and you're obligated for your actions. So however many actions you create or do or say, you're responsible for them. Now, let's look at some real world examples. One of the key things, I like to talk about, and people hate me for it, and it's okay, but I'm not here to be, worried about it. Somebody hates because of my, my opinion, but it's just the way I see life. Who knows? Racism, the book Slave Minds. I always go back to the book Slave Minds, my East Side bestseller. Bestseller. But in that book, I talk about racism and I talk about how to overcome, racism and systemic racism, whatever ism you may be suffering from through science and math and understanding that words are just words and they're only as real as you make them. Yeah, kind of like in the Matrix. It's like a matrix of words in your mind that create things that cause you to look at things in a negative way. For example, when you believe in racism and you believe in it wholeheartedly, you tend, not all, I'm not going to say everybody who believes in racism takes the victim mentality. There are some people who believe in racism that take a different approach. They're more proactive. They're more aggressive toward their goals and the things they want to achieve, and they don't let the idea of racism hold them back. However, if we took 10 people, how many of them do you think would let racism hold them back? How many of them would you say are letting the word, the idea, the theory of racism hold them back? I say 8. Some might say 6, 7. We'll be nice. We'll say 7 or 8, 6 to 8, 14. Average is 7, whatever. So we'll just say 7. But that's 70% of the people that are looking at racism as something that's going to hold them back. And is in some of these cases, the problem with it, it just turns into a big false claim. When you believe in something so much, you essentially close your mind to other opportunities, and you begin to misinterpret things. Yeah, racism causes illiteracy. It causes people to just shut off any type of new information that could help them overcome their obstacles, the challenge, and help them achieve new heights in their life. That's kind of what it does to your mind. So, they don't take any accountability. And that's what I was going on a tangent for. Racism causes people to avoid accountability by blaming it on racism. And to me, that's very illiterate. Very. But, do you? I don't care. Let me know how it works for you in 10 years. But for me personally, when I stepped into accountability, when I put on my accountability sneakers, it changed my life. It was uncomfortable at first. It's hard to, step in when you're doing your thing in a club, I do. But eventually it put me in a position, and more so a mindset, put me in a position mentally to deal with the things that were plaguing my daily life. It caused me to become a new person, a totally new person. So, that's what we're doing in this book. In this chapter, we actually talk about 4 tips for accountability, kind of like, 4 steps. And when I say steps, it's just something to think about when you're dealing with a problem, when you're dealing with something that, is in your control and something that you can deal with. The number one thing you need to remember is that you're obligated to be accountable for whatever things you can control in your life, because you have to be, because, you have to accept personal responsibility because you're a person, and you can't walk around, especially as a fully fledged adult, interacting with people and not taking, and accepting your personal responsibility. People think that accountability is something that's given to you by other people, but really it's already yours. You was born with accountability. And understand that your actions dictate your fate. It's just something to think about. This is all just things to think about, before you start making these choices. The way you act is going to dictate where you end up going. You know what I mean? So they say your attitude determines your attitude determines your latitude. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what that comes from. And then one of the key lessons I learned from one of my homeboy's daughters, my homie Shelby's daughter, Marley, she taught me a very wonderful lesson one day. We was having a conversation about the disagreement her sister and her were having. And I was like, dang, Marley, I was kind of just joking, but if you know Marley, Marley be on point. But I was like, why you making your sister mad? And she was like, I'm not making her mad. She making herself mad. And all I could do was laugh. I couldn't stop laughing because it's the truth. She was making herself mad, just like I make myself mad talking about it's the other driver or this person or that person. No, the whole time it was me making myself mad, overthinking and overanalyzing the situation, overreacting to another person who's not even reacting to me in that same light. And not in all cases, but we talking about in the car, everybody to be cussing out people in the car. They just be driving. They just driving, minding their business. they don't even know you mad at them. They don't even know. So, that's why you gotta relax. And like I said, I'm talking about me because, I used to be out here tripping and, I don't like driving because it's like, I gotta deal with everybody's problems for free, but that's a whole nother conversation we're gonna save for another time and space. But other than that, I guess that's really it. Overall accountability, just, being, obligated to be responsible for your actions. That's accountability. You have no choice but to be obligated and responsible for your actions. And you're just going to have to deal with it. But understand that, accountability isn't about shaming people and something else. There's nothing wrong with being shamed. There are some things that you should be ashamed of. And if you're ashamed of it, well, goddamn it, stop fucking doing it. What the fuck we talking about? But anyway, don't be ashamed of your mistakes. Own your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and don't let nobody try to make you your mistakes, because a mistake is just a moment in time. And after that mistake has happened, you are no longer that mistake. Sometimes the mistakes linger on longer than other mistakes. And, then you might be that mistake for a little bit longer, but don't worry about it. Players make mistakes. Players fuck up. Kobe and them miss shots, game winners, all that. So, don't worry about it. Keep your head up on a swivel, ready to take on the devil, at all costs. And, signing off. Yeah, that was another one, by the way. Yeah, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share with your people, comment, whatever the case may be. I holler. Peace.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap on today's deep dive into accountability. I'm Ruby Lee, your co-host on the Fix Your Grown Up podcast. And before we sign off, I've got a little something to share from our mental health parodies. Today's feature is Rap Culture Syndrome from Dr. Tuepenz. Now think about that friend at the office who drops rap lyrics by the water cooler like every conversation is a freestyle battle. Yep, that's RCS at work. Sure, we all love a good beat, but if you're sending emails filled with bars on bars or skipping meetings, unless there's a hype track playing in the background, you might be taking it a bit too far. Remember, you can appreciate and even love the culture, but you don't have to be its unappointed brand ambassador. Keep it balanced, keep it real, and know that genuine self-worth is about who you are, not how many rap references you can drop. Thanks for tuning in today, and I can't wait to catch you in our next episode.
Trying to restore the feeling if the good Lord is willing. Arabs at the corner store, Muslims selling my people pork, single cigarettes and beer, they probably think my people poor. Arabs at the corner store built a restaurant and a laundromat. We ain't poor, we pay